Okay, everybody, we are now recording.
This is Miriam. Can I ask one quick question? How often does the Vista Santa Cruz newsletter come out?
It comes out once a month, and it comes out usually the 30th of the month.
Okay,
So that's ready
okay,
for the
okay,
next month.
great. Thank you.
Okay, we're ready to start today's official meeting. We are recording now. I'd like to introduce Winston Chen. He's the creator and developer of all of the different VoiceStream products. So welcome, Winston, and we're delighted that you're with us today, and we're anxious to hear all about the VoiceStream products.
Yeah, thanks so much for inviting me. I do these sessions now and then. Basically, anybody who sends me an email and says, "Would you like to speak?" I do. I accept. Although as most of you probably know, VoiceStream, we don't do any marketing, so you're not going to get a sales rep sort of to do these presentations. I founded the company and I wrote all these apps. I'm gonna assume now, if you object, I'm gonna assume that most people here have VoiceStream Reader. But if I'm wrong about that, then so that means I'm not gonna talk about what is VoiceStream Reader, what it does. So if anybody object to that, just go ahead and type something in your messages. So my plan is to tell you a little bit about how the story behind VoiceStream, how I got the idea, and how this whole thing all started. And then I'm gonna sort of briefly talk about sort of the three products that VoiceStream carries: the reader, the writer, and the scanner. And then I'm gonna spend most of the time, sort of the 45 minutes on in the first 45 minutes in terms of demo on the scanner, which is the newest product that came out last year. And then I assume that there will be a lot of questions. So I know we have 45 minutes for Q&A, and I assume there will be a lot of good discussion in the Q&A session. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, so you would like us to hold our questions to the end and not interrupt your presentation?
Well, if you have a question, type it in the message in the chat, and then at the end of the session, I'm just gonna go from the top.
Okay, and then also when we
Okay?
get to the question section, if people will raise your hand, and I will recognize you in the order in which you raise your hand as well. And for today's meeting, I do have the chat session turned on. So if people normally remember that we have the chat turned off, but it is on for today's session.
Yeah, that'd be great. So, because I don't know what platform it runs on other than iOS. So I hope you address that because it's kind of a new product to me.
Okay. We'll go over all that. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll put the rest of my questions in the chat since that's the instructions. Thank you, guys.
Okay. All right. Well, let me. I guess let me start telling you a little bit about my background and how this whole thing got started. Actually, how the whole thing got started was almost exactly 10 years ago, in 2011. I had a high-tech job in tech, and I was getting dissatisfied about the way my career was going and where the company was going. So I decided to take a year off. So my wife and our two young kids, we packed our stuff and we left and went to live on a small island in Norway. So this island is just north of the Arctic Circle. Has a population of 180. The nearest town is a sort of big town is a 4-hour ferry ride away. And it was, I guess, the reason for doing that is in part it's adventure, and in part it was I was kind of burnt out. I didn't know what to do next with my career, and my wife had been taking care of the kids for a while, and she wanted to get back into the workforce. So there was a teaching job opened up on this island, and so she went back to teaching. Um, and it was, when we got there, it was wonderful summer. Even though it's north of the Arctic Circle, the weather was nice. I did a lot of fishing. I did a lot of hiking. But then when it got cold, we were mostly confined indoors. So I really needed to do something to keep my mind busy. So I decided to write an app. Programming was something I did a long time before that, but I hadn't done it for a while. So I just thought, okay, I got all this time in my hand. I'm gonna write myself an app. If you remember 10 years ago, iPhones were just starting to get popular. So most of us in tech were like, okay, this mobile computing thing is going to be the next wave. And I was curious about what writing an app on an iPhone would be like. So almost randomly, I chose to write an app that does text to speech, mostly for myself, because I do a lot of reading online. I get a lot of PDF documents, sort of papers. So I just wrote a very simple app that would import web pages and PDF documents and just use a text-to-speech engine to read that out loud. And I figured people like me could listen to do our reading when driving, or when we're in the gym, or we're just taking a walk. And it was like I said, it was mostly an experiment. Just like I could have been any application. I just wanted to write like a app. So in a couple of months later, I put the app in the App Store, and I thought, okay, that was fun. Time to maybe to get back into fishing, and thinking about what to do next with my career. Then gradually emails start to trickle in, and the first email I got was from a teacher who had a student who I don't think the teacher knew what exactly what it was, but I'm pretty sure in retrospect the student had dyslexia, and he said the student is really good at math, but he obviously has a problem reading math exams. So what he used to do is that he would take the student to the corner of a classroom, and he would read the exam for the student. And he said the student was really brilliant, and he would always do well. So then he found VoiceStream Reader in the App Store, and he loaded his exams in PDF into VoiceStream Reader and gave the iPad to his student. And he says, this is wonderful because now the student can take the exam, can take exams on his own, without feeling like somebody who's different, who had to sort of be treated in a special way. And I knew nothing about dyslexia, and when I got this email, like, it was very intriguing. Wow, like, this little app that I wrote, is actually really helping someone. I mean, not just for helping someone to be more productive, but like really making a fundamental difference in someone's life. So I kind of figure, okay, this is interesting. So maybe I'll get back to trying to make this app a little better, because everybody who wrote emails invariably asked for something to be fixed or for adding a new feature. So I started making the app, catering more to students who have a learning disability. A couple of months after that, I got an email. I still distinctly remember this. I got an email from a guy in France, and he said, I use your app all the time. I think it's great. I'm blind, and can you make your app work better with VoiceOver? And this was, again, it was a surprise to me. I knew nothing about how how somebody who's blind will use the iPhone to access the world, to access information, and I didn't even know what voiceover was. But again, it was somebody emailing me, letting me know that they found a use for the product that I did not anticipate. And then, of course, it was the realization that, again, for people who are visually impaired, this app isn't just something that makes them more productive, but this could really make a big difference. So I started adding voiceover features, at least like naming the buttons. But later on, I got a little bit carried away in sort of trying to make the app work better with voiceover beyond just labeling the buttons. So I guess from this little accident, I became, really obsessed with this app. And when our year from Norway was over, we moved back to Boston, and I was trying to get my get the next startup going. On the side, I'm still working on VoiceStream Reader. Like I said, it became this obsession. For me, what made me obsessed about it is the fact that, being in technology, normally if you write code, you create a product, you're generally not that close to customers. And the larger the company is, the more it's like that. Whereas here I was, I'm writing this app, and then I'm getting emails from customer. And as I'm getting emails from customers, I'm like, I can go right in the app and make the changes. And I really love this tight feedback loop. And also I really love the fact that, this product is making such a difference in people's lives that they would write me. Most people don't write, software developer companies, because they expect that maybe they'll get somebody who's not a developer, and they're always surprised. Oh, you're actually the person who wrote it. So that was a lot of fun. After we got back to Boston, at some point, the app started to generate enough income that my wife and I, looked at each other and said, well, we can live off of this. We went through some decision-making processes. Mostly, I think,
Voice stream reader.
Mostly because we still had young kids, and I wanted to spend a lot of time with the kids. So working, doing this app gives me a flexible life. So we decided that back that was 2012, that this would be our life. Now fast forward, that was 9 years ago. So fast forward since then, this app has grown by quite a bit. Has grown quite a bit, both by customers, by number of people who use it, but also has grown quite a bit in terms of the features that it's got. I still remain, the believer that one of the most important features that I put into the app was direct access to Bookshare. And of course, there's countless other improvements because I'm always working on it. So VoiceStream Reader is still the most downloaded app in the VoiceStream product suite. About 5 years ago, I wrote another app called VoiceStream Writer, and the reason I did that is, again, from customers emailing me, I realized that a couple of things, that voiceover, using voiceover to edit and to create text and to edit text was very painful. And so then I thought, well, then maybe there is an opportunity here to create a text editor or a word processor that would make it easier for people who use voiceover to write. And it happens to help the other major segment of folks, people who are dyslexic as well. If you're dyslexic, if you write, it's hard to read back to yourself what you have written. So it's hard to proofread and so on. So VoiceStream Writer was born. And then a couple of years ago, well, about 2 years ago, I came across some of the new OCR technology developed by Apple and by Google. And they work completely on device. And I was just shocked by how good they are. And the reason that the new text recognition engines can be so powerful is that they use newer machine learning, artificial intelligence based technology to take the image and convert that into text. And also they take advantage of the fact that the iPhones have grown so much faster. And iPhones also have chips inside that specifically do machine learning types of computation, which means running machine learning and AI on an iPhone became much faster. And that speed also enabled higher accuracy. So anyway, I was when I ran across it, I was just blown away, and realizing that this this new technology is so superior to anything that's already there, and so cheap that it's practically free. That that it's time to write a scanning application. So that was how VoiceStream Scanner was created. So I think that's a quick summary of VoiceStream products. So 3 products, Reader, Writer, and Scanner. They all only work on iPhones and iPads. I did have an Android version, but just at the beginning of this year, I sold the Android apps to another company. So no more Android. I had a hard time with Android, and they were, and I have, and that they were money losers ever from the beginning. And I just find myself, I really wanted to focus on the Apple ecosystem. A bit of news here also is that I am working on a Mac version of VoiceStream Reader. In fact, I started working on it almost 2 years ago, and I'm still on it at it now. And I'm hoping that it could be released either this summer or this fall. And it's not a port of the iOS iPhone app to the Mac. It's almost an entire rewrite with a dedicated new user interface that is optimized for the Mac. So that's sort of the preamble. Bob, do you think we should pause for a moment and see if anybody has any questions before diving into Scanner, or should I just continue onto the demo of the Scanner?
I have a question, Bob.
Go ahead, Farhan.
Farhan. Okay, what's your name? I forgot. I'm old now.
It's Winston.
Winston, sorry. Winston, I've got a concern. When I download certain apps, especially like an app recently I downloaded, RECU up, UP, RecUp, that is a recording version when you call somebody and you can record what we are talking. All right, you buy the app and then afterwards, when you are trying to set it up, it tells me to link to Dropbox, sign in to Dropbox, and continue with all this nonsense. I hope when we buy your apps, it doesn't tell us to go into different logins. I hope it just says, okay, here's the scanner, now start using it.
Yes, there's no login of any kind required. Obviously, if you want access Bookshare, you would need to log into Bookshare from inside the app. So one of the principles that underlays all voice stream apps is that number one, it has to run completely offline. It cannot
Okay.
cannot rely on an internet connection.
Okay.
And second is that all your data should be completely private. We don't want to touch your data. We don't want to store your data anywhere. We don't want to do anything with it. Your data only stays on your device.
Okay. Thank you very much, Winston.
Sure.
Thank you, Bob.
Sure. Looks like we have two people with their hands up. The first one, and I apologize, I'm going to skip your first name. Your last name is Ahmad? Ahmed? If you have a question, go ahead. You need to unmute yourself. Ahmed, are you there? If you'd like to ask a question, you need to unmute yourself. Okay, let's go on to Warner. Looks like you have a question. Go ahead.
Yes, actually, I have two questions. First, is familiarity with voiceover a prerequisite for using the reader? And the second question is, can you read arbitrary internet pages or are there restrictions?
Yes, you do not need voiceover knowledge. It's designed for both sighted and visually impaired people. As I said, a lot of people who use it are students with dyslexia. Maybe I should back up a little bit and maybe not assuming that everybody here knows about Voice Stream Reader. The things that I spend a lot of time on, and which I consider to be sort of the good part of the app. Number one is the ability to ingest or to take in a lot of different reading material. So to read web pages, it's very simple. You're in Safari and you found a page that you want to read, and you go to share, save to VoiceStream. Now at that point, VoiceStream extracts the article out of that web page. So without the ads and the menus and all the things that are superfluous, only the article, and then stores that in your VoiceStream library, and then you can read it right away. You can load from Google Drive, from Dropbox, from Evernote, from Bookshare, obviously from Gutenberg, or various websites that support downloads of DAISY files and so on. It supports PDF documents, Word documents, EPUB books, DAISY audio, or even zipped audio, which is something that I didn't know this, that a lot of blind people have sort of collections of MP3 files, audiobooks in MP3 format. And so each file is a chapter, so they would zip it up into a zip file. That is a book. So VoiceStream can load that zip file directly and read that out loud. So ability to read a lot of different kinds of content is really important. The second thing is that the ability to read in any way people choose. Low vision people can use an iPad and read with the font really large. You can listen with voice or visually only, or voice and visual synchronized so that the text is highlighted as it's being read. You can, I noticed somebody asked about Pac-Man mode. So Pac-Man mode is a speed reading technique where the text disappears as it's being read. And technique was developed by an MIT professor and experimentally proved to be really successful at making people read oftentimes twice as fast as they were able to read before. So lots of ways to configure a reading environment to your liking, whatever it is that the way you prefer to read. And lastly, it comes with a lot of choices of text-to-speech voices. You obviously have all the voices that are on your iPhone available to you, but it also comes with a choice of an a cappella voice, which they make very high quality text-to-speech voices. And if those are not enough, you can also buy additional voices. We offer voices from NeoSpeech and from Ivona. Both of them have sort of certain voices that people have an affinity to. So I know for people who spend a lot of their day listening to a text-to-speech voice, having a voice that you find that's comforting or nice or that you find pleasing is really important, and people have different preferences in that regard. So offering a lot of choices in voices is really important, and that's something we also spend a lot of time on.
Okay,
Very
go ahead,
nice. The specific question was, if you are a blind person, do you have to know voiceover, or could you also work with voice control?
If you can use voice control, it supports voice control. If that's your question.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, looks like Ahmad
Bob,
got yourself unmuted. So go
yes.
ahead, Ahmad.
Sorry, I was kind of doing some other stuff with my other computer. And this quick question. It's a one-time fee payment, right, Wilson?
That's correct. So no subscription.
No subscription. Okay.
That's right. That's right. So the voice stream reader is $19.99 US, and voice stream scanner is $5.99 US, and the writer is $9.99.
So that means total is $9.99, $5.99, right?
6, 9, 15, 20, $35 totally.
But
Oh.
you can also buy, there's a voice stream suite which comes with all three products plus two additional voices.
How much is that for?
Actually, sorry, I don't remember. I'm not a business person.
All right, check it out.
Yeah, but it does come with a discount, of course. It's quite a bit cheaper than buying the app separately.
When you
Ahmad,
said-
any other question?
Yeah, when you said you're getting through Bookshare, can we get some kind of discount if we download from there? For
Oh,
I
no.
just looked up the suite and it's $29.95. So
Got the
Thank you.
answers. Thank you.
Okay, Becky, looks like you have a question.
Yes, thank you. First, Winston, on behalf of all of us, I'd like to say thank you, thank you, thank you for creating these fabulous apps that really empower us to access information. I'm amazed by your story. I'm blown away by it. I have one kind of silly question, and that is, I wonder if you wouldn't mind to share with us the story behind how you named them Voice Dream.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, good. Well, good question. So when we lived on the island in Norway, um, I kept a blog about our life on the island, and all the things that we're learning to do, and the community there, and the beauty, and it's really it's an extraordinary place. I took a lot of photographs, so I posted those photographs on the blog, and the name of the blog is Arctic Dream, and that came first, you know, because I thought, well, you know, we're living in the Arctic and living sort of, you know, living the dream, to be able to not work and take a year off, and in an amazing place like that. So then when I created the app, as I said, it's just an experiment. So I didn't really give it a lot of thought. And in retrospect, maybe I should have. You know, I just thought, oh, you know, Arctic Dream, oh, it's a voice, so it's a voice dream. And of course, voicedream.com was available, and that, of course, is the biggest reason, and that's how the company or product was named. So I called it Voice Stream Reader, and you know, it's a little confusing because it's I think a lot of people think it's confuse voice stream with stream, like the river, you know, stream of water. So yeah, maybe could have been different, but I'm sticking with it. I think it has so much history to it, that and also personal attachment, you know, for me as well.
Oh, great. Thank you very much.
Okay,
It's
Rob,
a beautiful
Rob
story.
Turner, looks like you've got a question. Go ahead.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Bob. Yeah, I just wanted to tell Winston I used to be an employee of Bookshare in the QA department, and we did a lot of testing, and I'm very impressed with the reader, and also the scanner is tremendous. It's replaced my OCR on the computer, and it just works so well. It's just so well thought out. And I want to second Becky's comments. We really thoroughly appreciate these wonderful apps that you've developed.
Well, thanks. I think I recognize you. When I saw your name, I thought, okay, that I think I may recognize that person.
Yeah, you probably thought that guy was a pain. But we really did. The product is just great. So thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And also thank you. You know, I kind of, I like my life. You know, I'm my own boss. I have the flexibility of doing what I like, and you know, working on something I'm passionate about, and also thanks to everybody who's, you know, giving me feedback, who's spread the word. You know, as I said before, I don't do any marketing, so all of this is entirely driven by word of mouth. So thank you as well.
Okay, let's take one more question for now, and then Wilson can continue his presentation, and then we can drop back into more questions here in a second. So Miriam, looks like you're next.
Yeah, excuse me. Excuse me. When you use the term OCR, what does that stand for?
Oh yes, this is to tech people being.
I
you
always
know,
have problems with this
to our
people using
world.
terminology, and it's like I don't know what that means.
Yeah, so OCR stands for optical character recognition. So it basically
Okay.
is a recognizing text in an image.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So so I'm going to do a demo of the scanner, and that, you know, that does OCR.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And is that what would be used with a PDF?
You could do both. You know, so sometimes you have you have a document, a paper document that you want to read, and you can use your iPhone to take a picture of it and you have that be read out loud. Or you can have a PDF that's not accessible, which means that it's bunch of images with no text information.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can load that into VoiceStream Reader, where the scanner app is really using the camera of the phone to scan text, document, anything with text on it. But VoiceStream Reader is really the place where you would load a PDF document that's not accessible. It would ask you, do you want to perform OCR or detect the text on it? So yes, then it goes through an entire document and makes that accessible.
Nice, Vijay.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much.
Sure. Okay, well, let me. I think we'll have more time for Q&A. So let me just give you a demo of the scanner. I'm gonna share my screen here. No, just share this app. So this is this app is so right now what's on the screen is the oops. I'm going to turn voiceover on. Okay. So what's on the screen is what's on my phone. But now actually I'm realizing that it's actually there's no sound. Can anybody hear the sound from
No,
voiceover?
we hear you and we can see your screen, but
Yeah.
no audio from the screen.
Okay, so that's a problem. I should have. I guess I should have anticipated that. Let's see. Put. Okay, let's try this. And if it doesn't work, then if it doesn't work, then we might have to do it. We might have to nix the screen sharing. Okay.
Excuse me, Bob, this is Nancy.
Go
If
ahead,
you turn on sound, what is that called? Sound in settings.
Nancy, we lost you there.
Let's try again. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now can everybody hear the audio now?
Not yet.
We can hear your voice.
We can hear you, Winston.
Did you?
Yeah, we can't
Are
hear
you
the
hearing
voiceover.
that? No.
Yeah.
You say cannot hear the voiceover?
Cannot hear the voiceover.
No.
Okay, tell you what, then let's get rid of the audio. Let's get rid of the video. So sorry about that. So I'm just going to use my phone.
We can't see anyways for the most part.
Yeah. Okay. So
Voice stream.
Speak for
okay.
yourself.
Signal. Voice stream scanner.
Okay, so that's the
Double tap
app.
to open.
I'm going to open that. Okay.
Voice stream scanner. Menu. Button.
So the first thing you'll notice is that there is a feature on this app I call a scan tone. So what that is that you can hear. You hear the tone?
Yes.
Yes.
So notice the tone also gets larger and smaller, gets louder and so that tone is based on how much text is present in that camera's field of vision. Okay, so right now you can hear there's no sound, but I'm going to put a paper right in front of it, and then I take it away, and it's gone like that. So this is a way to use the tone right away to figure out how much, whether you're pointing at something that could be read. Okay. So it's very simply, I've got this letter in the mail, and I'm gonna
Edge detection off. Button. Edge detection
I'm
on.
going to turn edge detection on. So what that does is that it tries to find the edges of the page, and then it doesn't even matter if you're pointing at the page even at an angle, right? It's not necessary to have the camera directly on top of the page. It'll, as long as it can find the edges of the page, it'll auto correct and auto rotate and then read exactly what's on the page. So even if the page is upside down, so right now I can take this page and turn it upside down, and and I take a picture of it at an angle. Okay.
Capture image button. Capture image dimmed.
Okay. Now it's processing.
Button. Adjustable.
Okay. So
Swipe up to rewind and swipe down to
Oh
fast
my
forward.
gosh.
Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value.
so now I can say play.
Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Revenue Kukowski E. Snyder, Commissioner. Letter ID, L0375003456 Notic Dat, December
Oh my
29,
gosh.
2020 account ID.
Right. Yeah. So that was me taking a picture, at an angle, the paper upside down. Yeah, the lighting condition here is not that great either. So that's one of the things that the AI-driven OCR is really good at. That it's able to, even you don't have to, in the old days, position everything properly and having everything just right to be able to get good text recognition. It's much more forgiving. So I'm gonna discard. Okay. There's also an option so that as soon as a picture is taken,
Capture image button.
It'll start reading right away, right? So that's a nice mode for you, just to scan. Yeah, and one of the things I was so surprised to, didn't know about. Yeah, of course, when you hear about it, when you have cans of food, if you can't see, you don't really know what's in the can, right? I guess maybe you want to be surprised, but if you don't want to be surprised by what's in it, it'd be nice to take a scanner and see what's on the can.
Yes.
And that's challenging because the text on the can, depending on angle, some of it may be smaller than others, and it's not completely flat. And again, this is where something like this really excels. So here, I'm just looking around my office, and I'm finding this little bottle, and I'm going to take a picture of it and see what it
Capture
gets.
image button. Capture image dimmed.
Wow.
Play button adjustable. Swipe up to read.
Okay, I'm playing.
Great stuff. Insulating foam sealant trademark.
Okay, well there it is. So that's that's like a little bottle with, pretty small bottle of foam sealant. So anyway, so that's sort of so the scan is, as a dedicated app, it's helpful to open it up and try to see what's around you.
Discard.
Another thing that you can do with this is to scan lots of pages at the same time. So it has this mode called
flashlight on, batch mode off button.
Called batch
Turn on
mode.
batch mode to capture one image after another quickly. You won't be prompted to edit each image after capturing it.
Okay, so notice before when I captured an image, it went to the image, then it gives you the option to read it. So when you turn batch mode on, okay, now it'll, if you capture an image, it'll take the image, make a page out of that. Then you hit capture again, it'll make a second page out of that. You can just keep doing that, and then produce. You can read all those pages together, back to back, or you can save that as an accessible PDF, or you can send that over to VoiceStream Reader. And you can capture, if you have a book that you want to scan, you can actually do that. Just I think somebody told me about that. You can buy a scanning stand for fairly cheaply, and put your iPhone on top of that. So if you do that, you can just put page after page under the stand, and have that have a bunch of pages or books scanned very quickly. There's another feature called auto capture.
Turn on to automatically capture image when a page containing text is detected and the camera is steady.
Yeah, so that is fairly there. That feature I think exists in a few other scanning apps as well. But if you have auto capture and batch scan on, right, then you don't even need to touch. If you want to scan a lot of pages, you don't even need to touch the phone, right? You can just sort of put a page under the phone. Then a second later it's captured it. You take it away. You put another page in, and it captured it, and just keep on doing that without having to push any button. Let me see, what else can I tell you? Let me turn this off.
Capture image button.
So let me capture this image again.
Capture image. Dim. Play button. Adjustable.
Winston,
Swipe up to rewind and swipe to voice settings. Button.
Yes.
I have to leave early, but I'm really excited. I'm going to try your apps, and thank you so much. This is life-changing for someone who's blind.
You're very welcome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining
sure.
us, Jane.
Okay.
You can use any of the voices that's available to VoiceStream Reader. As I mentioned, that you can buy additional voices other than the voices on the system, or the free voice that you get from VoiceStream Reader, the one free voice. So if you have more voices, then those voices are available to the scanner as well. And also for the writer.
Choosing.
You can let's see.
Discard button.
And the way
Capture
this
image button.
and then the way this works is that there's a tray below the on the scanning page. So any pictures, anything you capture gets stored in the tray, gets added to the tray, and then you can save all the images you've captured using the save button. Then then you have the option to save that as a PDF document. You can also sort of scan or recognize text in an image in a photograph that you have in your photos library on your phone. And you can also if you're on a let's say you're in Twitter, you have an image there. You can also open that up and access VoiceStream Scanner from the image in that share button, and have that and have the text to be read out loud to you. So that's VoiceStream Scanner.
Language, auto detect.
And as I said, with all VoiceStream apps, it doesn't go to the cloud. So your image is your image stays only on your device. So that should allow any privacy concerns you have about images that sort of legal documents or whatever that you don't want you don't want to get sent to the cloud, because all the text recognition happens on the phone. So that's the scanner.
Do you want to take a couple more questions, Winston?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, Rita, you have a question? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hi there.
Winston, just a suggestion. You need to compile like a book of all these testimonials of how life-changing these apps are, because they truly are. I've shown this app to people, and they've started crying because they've got access for text to speech. I mean, it's life-changing. I'm sure you've heard this before, but I strongly suggest you start a little book about some of these anecdotes about how it's changed people's lives, because it's very powerful. So anyway, my question is about, I heard you mention earlier, when you go to a web page, say, for example, you're looking up a recipe on allrecipes.com, and you want to, I guess we got some feedback there. If you want that, you know how on a web page, there's so much noise, advertisements, and to get to the actual parts of the recipe you want. If you hit the share button, voice stream, and share it to voice stream reader, it extracts all of that and just leaves the text. Is that correct? It acts like reader mode?
Yeah, it does. In fact, the engine, sort of the code that it uses to extract from the article from the web page is very similar to the reading mode in Safari. But it doesn't. But I have to warn you. I mean, it doesn't work 100% of the time, because some web pages just have a crazy format that it's impossible to and as you probably know, the Safari's reading mode also makes mistakes now and then. But in general, it does a pretty good job of getting only the content and stripping away everything else.
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome. Thank you so much for all of your work. It really is, I can't say it enough, life-changing.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to jump to some people who haven't had a chance to ask a question yet. So, Lorraine, do you have a question?
Yes, thank you for taking that question. On the scanner, if it's in batch mode, do you get any notification as to how fast to change the pages?
Yeah, after it tells you that the recognition is complete. I think it makes a sound, I believe. So I can try it right now. But it's very fast. I mean, depending on the phone that you have. On my phone, this is an iPhone 12. Recognition is instantaneous. It almost there's almost no lag. And of course it's a little slower on older devices. But even, I mean, for most of the devices that people use, it should be you shouldn't need to wait for recognition to occur.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Perla, you're on now, and then up next will be Gail. Go ahead, Perla.
Okay, thanks. That's great. And I'm wondering, I have two questions about the scanning. One is, if you have a book and it's open, it's 2 pages, do you just let it do the 2 pages at the same time, or do you have to set it up so that it's 1 page at a time?
Yeah, you need to do it 1 page at a time. It does not, it doesn't do a very good job recognizing multiple columns of text, and then that is probably the only shortcoming of this sort of AI-based text recognition engine that I'm using.
Okay, well, that was part of my question. So if you had like a PG&E bill, it wouldn't do well going across columns to read the bill.
It'll get all the text, but the sequence may be wrong.
Okay. All right.
It just basically reads from top to bottom. That's the bottom line. It just reads whatever,
Okay,
when it finds a page, it reads from the top and it just goes down from the top to, keep on going until it reaches the bottom.
okay,
So
great. Well, thank
for a
you.
bill, it actually works really well.
Oh, okay.
Thank you,
Thank you
Perla.
very much.
Gail, you're up, and then next will be Lorraine. Go ahead, Gail.
Learn explain. 15413880500 has joined the meeting.
What my question is, if you scan something or like a book or a page that you want to keep, and I think there's a way to share it to VoiceStream Reader, and then from there you can like share it to your email or something.
Yeah, you don't have to go to share it to Reader first. You can directly from the scanner share send it as a PDF document through email or text or whatever. Save it to
Alert explain. Christy has left meeting.
so save it to a file, save it to Dropbox or wherever you want to put your files.
Okay, I didn't notice that part, but I do have your products. I think they're wonderful. Yeah, and mobile.
Well, thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's right.
For developing those. I really appreciate them. Love them.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, Miriam, it looks like you're next. Go ahead, Miriam.
Hello?
Yep, go ahead.
Oh, this is Nancy, not Miriam, but
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nancy.
okay. I just wanted to say I love the products. I just think they're great. I've taught a few people how to use VoiceStream Reader after I learned it. And I'm wondering if you have any thoughts of making it possible to put folders with subfolders within a folder, like a technology folder, and then one for, let's say I have classes from Tech It Out and one from TTJ or iBug or something like that. So we could have one umbrella folder with subfolders inside of it.
Yeah. That is an often requested feature. I mean, technically, it's actually not that hard to do, but I was always been worried that it would be, it might be confusing to some people to have, because on iOS it's hard to do this multi-level lookup, so you have to do one page at a time. But most likely it's a feature that I'm going to put in at some point.
It would help us be more organized. We'd love it.
Yes, I have heard that, but I've heard that many times before. Yeah.
Thanks for all your work.
Oh, you're welcome.
Farhan, go ahead.
Thank you, Bob. Winston, once we buy the app, the VoiceStream Suite, do we have to buy it separately for iPhone, iPad, and the PC?
The apps work across iPhone and iPads, so you would get you do not have to pay again. But the Mac version will be a separate product, so you have to pay for that separately.
And does it work on the PC?
Does not work on a PC, and
okay.
And I don't plan to make a PC version either.
Okay, and I have a suggestion. They have come out with, as you mentioned, they have come out with the stand to put the iPhone so that you don't have to hold the phone all the time. I'm sorry for the phone coming in. All right, so it's quite an expensive stand. It's around $25. Can you make a cheaper version of the stand to go along with your scanner?
That's probably a business I'm going to stay away from.
He's a software engineer, not a hardware engineer.
That's
just
like
a suggestion.
That's like plastic, injection molding plastic. That's
it's not even plastic. It's not even plastic. It's just cardboard.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's a $25 for a cardboard stand. That does seem
Yeah,
expensive.
it's very
Yeah.
expensive. Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Farhan.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Winston.
Bev, you're up next.
Did you say my name, Bob?
Yes, go ahead,
Zoom
Beverly.
has new window.
Sorry, voiceover wants to talk at the same time. I wanted to ask you about the reader. I mean, not the reader, but the writer.
Yeah.
I know a person who's just now starting to lose her sight, and she is a book writer. She writes books, and she's concerned about being able to edit her own books. And I was wondering, well, a couple of questions. Does the voice dream writer have its own voice? And also, would she be able to do her own editing?
I'm not sure. Maybe you can clarify the first question. Would it have its own voice?
Currently unmuted.
So she
Zoom has new window.
hasn't learned voiceover yet. She's still in that process of changing from
Backing enter to everyone.
using
Ed
her
Farhan.
site.
Contact me and I can suggest a good stand that works well for scanning
using
meta
her
news.
site to
Zoom
not
has new
using
window.
her site. And so would she be able to have the writer on her iPad or iPhone? And does it have a built-in voice just like the reader does and the scanner does?
Yes, yes, it does. It does. So that's so that's one of the, I mean, that's one of the strengths of the writer. You know, maybe I should just, maybe talk a little bit about the writer, because I think I mean, I know, with all the three products, the reader, the writer, and the scanner, and a reader is, more by far the largest, and the scanner probably comes second, the writer is third. So it's the sort of the least well known of the least like popular, if you will, of the three apps. So the writer gives you voice text to speech feedback in two ways. So it can, so especially for people who are not using voiceover, you can type and right, and after each word you push space and it'll speak. You can turn it off, of course. It'll speak that word you just typed. Or you can, at the end of a sentence, right, type in period, space, it'll read the sentence that you just wrote. So that's text to speech feedback at a very immediate level. And you can also set it up such that if you misspell a word, it'll tell you right away that the word is misspelled. And then it also has proofreading mode. So there are two modes. One mode that gives you feedback right away as you type. The second way is that when you're done writing, or a paragraph or a chapter or whatever, you put your cursor somewhere and you say play, then it'll start reading in a more natural way. So that you can hear the contents, to hear if your writing is good, is okay, it's what you want. But if you detect a mistake and you stop, then it puts the cursor right at where you stopped, so that you can edit and make changes and corrections very easily. So text to speech is totally integrated in the whole writing process. So I think I think it sounds, based on what you said, I think your friend, this could be helpful for her.
One more question, if I could. And with the writer, I'm assuming you can save your pages. Also, does it not go to the cloud? Does it stay on your phone also?
It stays on your phone, but at your option, you can save it to iCloud, which is Apple's cloud, and it's that of all the cloud storage mechanism, it's definitely the most secure. Yeah, so you can it's the user's choice. So, by the way, one nice thing about storing documents, synchronizing it to the cloud, and you can do that with the reader also. one nice thing is that if you lose your device, you haven't lost your work. You know, that may be important.
Okay, thank you, Beverly, for your questions. Now it looks like the person with the last 4 digits are 2796 of your phone.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Winston, for your enthusiasm and what you've done with the product. I guess you went fishing and caught a bunch of blind people and you got them hooked.
Very good analogy.
Pardon me?
No, good pun, good pun.
Well, I mean, it's what you've done. I mean, it's nice that people understand and support their own product and know why they're doing what they're doing. Then they're more excited to move on as compared to where you were with your previous career and why you had to go to Norway. So this is an opportunity for you to slam your competition. I was wondering, have you compared it to your scanner? I have the Seeing AI, the KNFB reader. For me, Seeing AI, to me, has not really been worth the price of free. And the KNFB reader is another version. Have you looked at or compared or outdo them in some area?
I'm going to pull an apple, which is that, I'm not going to comment on the competition. But I will say this though, as I was, when I developed WaveStream Scanner, I tested everything I could get my hands on.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. I mean, I would not have felt the need to release a product if I felt like this product does something, does what another product already does very well.
Okay, great. So yeah, that answers the question, and thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else have a question for Winston?
Yes, Bob, this is Miriam. I still didn't get a chance to ask my question.
Okay, go ahead, Miriam.
So if, can the source material that you are reading from be off of a computer screen?
You mean
yeah, I have a large computer monitor, and unless the text is right in front of my eyes, I can't see it. I can't shift my eyes up or down to read. So I'm constantly having to reposition the screen so that I can read it. If I had a way that I could just, capture an image at the top of my computer screen at the bottom, that would be helped greatly. So rather than getting it from a book, if I could use the computer screen as the source material. So would it read a computer screen?
Yes. The answer is yes. You can definitely take a picture of a computer screen. And
excellent.
There's text on it, don't read it. Although I suggest that, you might want to use a screen reader. That's probably a better option for you.
Okay. So I mean, you have, I'm new to all of this. So like who would make a screen reader that I might want to use instead? Or Bob, do you know?
Yeah, I mean, if you're using a Mac, there's VoiceOver. If you're using a PC, I think most people.
I'm using a Mac. Right? Yeah, all my equipment now is Apple. I've recently changed to that from the Android world.
Yeah, I think you can use VoiceOver on the Mac to just turn, go into the accessibility section and turn VoiceOver on.
Okay.
There is a free screen reader, NVDA. I don't know if it works for iMacs. NVDA. It's like JAWS.
It's M is in Mary.
N is in Nancy.
N is in Nancy. Okay.
And NVDA works on Windows, not Mac.
Yeah. It doesn't work.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So keep quiet.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Parhang.
Welcome. I have a question for Winston, if it's possible.
Go ahead, Farhan.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of writing before on the computer, sending emails and other stuff. My eyes have become so bad I can't do that. So can you please explain how the writer works on the computer, on the iPhone or iMac or iPad, I'm sorry.
Great question.
Yeah. Are you a voiceover user? Do you use voiceover?
I'm not good at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was, when, tell you a story about Voice Stream Writer. When I was developing it, I had a group of people who helped me beta test and get ideas from. One of the beta testers is he's blind, and then one day he wrote to me, and he was so excited. He was so excited because he said, I wrote an entire article. He writes a lot. He wrote an entire article with the iPhone in his pocket.
Oh.
And with headphones on, and then he had a braille display. And he said, I did that while I was flying, and he says it was wonderful. I don't have to bring out any devices, lay down any keyboards or anything like that. It's just, so it is, if you, it's really designed to be able to use, to write entirely using audio, using sound.
The writer part of Suite, correct?
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so you just dictate into it and it types it out.
You can dictate to it using the keyboard. On the iPhone, the keyboard comes up, and there's a little microphone button on the keyboard. You tap on that, then you can start speaking. And then when you're done speaking, Voice Stream Writer will read back what you just dictated.
Okay. Okay, I'll have to try it. Thank you very much, Winston. Thank you, Bob, for taking my questions.
Sure. Ashley, did you have a question?
Yeah. Is that me, Ashley?
That's
I think
you?
I'm the. Okay. Yeah. Hey. So yeah, I'm back. Anyway. Yeah. I guess I'll start with the writer question because Farhane was talking about the writer. So, I would. Am I correct that you can really write on it like a word processor and edit it? Like you can like attach a real keyboard as opposed to the iPhone touchscreen keyboard and type on it like on a QWERTY keyboard.
Yes, you can use an external keyboard.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. External keyboard, like a real keyboard that you could type with like real buttons. Because that works a lot for a lot of us people better than the touchscreen keyboard or dictation. Because dictation, for those who don't know, like Farhane, if you dictate messages as I just did earlier in the chat, you have to state every punctuation mark, and for me that's difficult to speak, like because I get ahead of myself and forget to tell the dictation thingy like, oh, I need a period or I need a quotation mark, or I mean I would just rather like type it out. So you can do that in Voice Stream. Okay. And what file format does it save in, and how many files can you save, or is that dependent on your memory in the iPad or iPhone?
Text files don't take up much space at all. So for a space that made up by a single photograph you take, you can probably store like War and Peace, right? War and Peace with that amount of storage. But in terms of export, you can export it. to Microsoft Word. You can also export to plain text. But the so one of the things you were exported to HTML and printed.
Oh, neat.
So one of the things, one of the things that's about about Writer is that it uses something called Markdown.
Oh.
Some of you may, I don't know if you're, you may not be familiar with that. So
I've
the
heard
idea,
of the term, but I don't know what it is. Yeah.
yes. So the idea is that formatting your writing is entirely done using plain text.
Oh.
So yeah. So for example, if you want to put in a heading, you do like a first level heading, you do pound. If you want to emphasize something, you put a exclamation mark, then the word, then exclamation mark. So you're basically using text to declare formatting. And I thought that was especially useful for people who are who are blind, because there's a lot of word processors, you format something, so you want to make the one piece of text bold. Well, that's great, but unless the screen reader or something can tell you that is bold, you don't, it's hard to know that it is bolded, right? So with Markdown, all the information about formatting is in text, so you can you can hear it. And it has other advantages, which is that it's a much more focused writing environment. You don't get distracted with a lot of things, dials and controls. It's really just you and the text, and you do everything in using plain text.
Mm. Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was a plain text editor. Interesting. Okay. So, okay, then the other big question is in regarding the scanner. And sorry if you covered this. I could have missed it. My internet kind of can go bad. But bad connection. But I was wondering, okay, so can it do a batch scan, and also what file format does it save your OCR documents in?
Yeah, I did talk about batch
A little.
scan. Yes, it can do batch scan. You can do one page after another very quickly without being interrupted. And it can save as plain text, and it can save as PDF.
Oh, okay, both. Okay. And would you be able to like share it with or attach these files to like email or something?
Yes,
Okay.
it's for all of that. It's uses iOS's standard sharing mechanism, so you can send it to a text message, send it to Dropbox, send it to email it to someone, whatever you want to do with it.
Got it. Oh, okay. Thank you. That helps.
Okay, Stacy, looks like you've got a question.
Hi, Winston. My name's Stacy. I'm the technology manager for Vista Santa Cruz, and I just wanted to say thank you for being on today and sharing your story. It's very impressive, and to let you know that I run a youth tech program once a year for the past 3 years, and your apps definitely get put on my students' iPads when they join the group. And it's wonderful because they're so easily learned. And I've never had a student not use it. And especially with the Bookshare, it's so easy for them to get their school assignments, especially now with the virtual learning. Be able to share and organize their assignments and email out back to the teacher. So I just wanted to say kudos and thank you. And there's many kids out there that use VoiceStream products.
Well, thanks so much. Thank you.
And I would love to have you come as a guest speaker to talk to my students this year when I have that, if I have it this year.
Yeah, sure. Like I said, I'm always happy to talk to customers and users.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. That was all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay. Does it make sense for me to go through the questions here that came in through chat?
Yes, why don't we do that? And then we'll have to wrap things up after that.
Okay. Okay, so the question, does VoiceStream plan to support Adobe encrypted EPUB and DAISY? So the answer is that I would love to, but I can't seem to find the right person inside Adobe who would even talk to me. And I believe their SDK is really expensive and not affordable for a very small company like VoiceStream. So the answer is that I would love to. Maybe someday some enlightened person inside Adobe will decide to take pity on me and let me use their product, at least for a reasonable price. Yes. Okay, so more comments. Can you tell me what devices and software apps will run on? Okay, so that we already answered that it runs only on iPhones and iPads, and that's, like I said, the Zoom Reader will be running on Mac, on the Mac, and it does not run on Windows. Okay, cost, we mentioned that. Batch scan, yes, it supports batch scan. Formats, PDF, so it can save to Dropbox. Yes, okay, so I think we got to all those questions. That was from Ashley. Okay, and Deborah Armstrong asked Pac-Man mode. So I think I mentioned that before. So that's a speed reading mode, but it's mostly for, I think it's mostly for people who are sighted, because the word disappearing really doesn't matter if, for people who can't see.
Lots of praise here for you in the comments.
Yes, yes. Okay, Don Wood mentioned that VoiceStream the scanner can crash. You know, it did. It was prone to crashing when running on older devices. And that's because there was one point when Apple made cameras that take very high resolution images, but somehow the CPU wasn't fast enough. So so on those devices, it used to crash when you exceed like a number of images. I forget how many. But a recent update, I think it came out just like a couple of weeks ago, fixed that. So so Dawn, if you're there, you should be able to that should be completely stable now. But if you still have issue, please email us. You can email me, Winston@voicestream.com, or support@voicestream.com. We would love to figure out if it's still not stable for you. Okay. Yeah. So, so again, on PC version is not available, and I do not plan on that. Okay, so that was actually again about the stability issue. So again, please try the latest version, and still have problems, email us. VoiceStream uses Ivona and Acapella voice and maybe some others. Sometimes I have processing problems when people are talking. If you download the app, you can play samples of voices to see if any will work for you. I found that I really enjoy their choices. Voices don't sound quite human, but they are much clearer than straight computer voices. Okay, well, thank you. I thought that was a question, but it was a nice note. Yes, that's right. Somebody also pointing out scanner handling columns and spines books, or you being the ability to spread a book open and take a picture of both pages and have those be separated into 2 pages, and that's something that it doesn't do, then obviously as soon as the technology becomes available, it will go right into the scanner. Can a blind person use tools without voiceover? Only use voice control? The answer is yes. Answer that. Okay, that was thank you. More nice notes. Okay. How do you attach a keyboard to an iPhone? You would do that using Bluetooth. Do you have any learning materials along with the app? The scanner should be pretty easy to use. There's a little sort of quick start in it. And the writer has a documentation that's you can load it directly into the writer itself and have it read out loud for you. The reader has a user manual. It can also has a quick start. But I will admit that like it's probably time to update the manuals. You know, for example, right now, the ability to scan is built into VoiceStream Reader. So if you just buy the reader, you can you can use the camera to scan a document directly into the reader, and that's not covered in the documentation right now. So yes, the documentation needs to be updated. Also, somebody says email address. Yes, so I'm just gonna type in my email address in the chat.
That's me. That's me, Farhang Winston. Thank you.
Yeah, it says the Winston at voicefrom.com. Also, if you may want to.
And if Winston, if it's okay with you,
support at voicestream.com.
Winston, if it's okay with you, I'll include those email addresses in the description that I write up for the video when this video gets posted.
Sure. Okay, so also Ashley said there are various tutorials to the apps on YouTube as well. But Ashley mentioned that through Mystic Access there are tutorials. Okay, so those are all the questions that came in through chat.
Great, Winston, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Just like everybody said, it's a wonderful app, and I think this was a very productive session for a lot of our folks here. So thank you so much for being able to join us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Winston. Thank you very much.
It was wonderful.
Well, thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you for inviting me, Bob. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for your nice words.
Come back again.
Okay, and I want to remind everybody that remember the next meeting is coming up on March 5th. It'll be Jeff Thompson from Blind Abilities talking about the iPod Pros and the Bose frames. And in that notice, you're going to have to click on the registration button in order to be able to get into the meeting.
Okay.
So thank you, everybody.
An iPod, or do you mean the iPad? Because I have only heard of an iPad.
It's the Bluetooth headphones, the earbuds that Apple has come out with, the
Bluetooth headphones,
the Pros. Yeah.
Oh, okay. An iPod. For
what
the
happened?
along with the iPod Touch.
I can't hear you.
Got it. That's interesting.
Hello.
Hey, Farheen.